Hello, joining me in studio today, it's Therese. Therese is here in Norway. Hi, Therese. Welcome to the Web Makers podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Yes.
Thank you
Thank you
for
so much for
joining
inviting
us.
me.
I think it would be great if you could tell us like an elevator pitch about the journey, about you, about your company, and briefly about your journey.
Yes. So I'm one of the founders of a small Norwegian startup called Ether. So I think the name Ether is not known to everyone. It's a concept that physicists used to believe in. So back in the days, the physicists they believed that information cannot travel in nothingness. There has to be some sort of medium where the information can travel through. So they called this mysterious medium for ether. And then I think it was so. For example, a wave in the ocean has to travel through the ocean. You cannot imagine a wave without the ocean. And
Yeah.
similarly, they thought that all information, like light, has to be sent that way. But 100 years ago, we figured out there is no ether. But I like the name because it's a bit dark, mysterious, and we are also working with, we try to make a sort of lid between, what is in space and what is on the vessel. So I'll tell a little bit about what the startup does. We are working with maritime navigation against GPS jamming and spoofing.
Mm.
So the GPS is perfect in many ways. It's very accurate positioning system, and we use it for our vessels, our phones, our cars, and all. And when it's working, it's the best. It provides excellent accuracy almost everywhere. Not in the higher north, perhaps, not near the poles, but usually it's quite good. But recently, there's quite a lot of attacks on this GPS signal. So when we see like military conflict or like geopolitical tension, then we also see like this electronic warfare. So the signal from the satellites comes down to the vessel, and it's very, very weak. And you need to have contact with like at least 4 satellites to receive your position and your time. But since this signal is so weak when it reaches the vessel, then it's easily jammed, so you can send a very strong electromagnetic wave. So this is jamming. But you can also trick.
Jamming is kind of like noise in the signal, in the connection
Yes,
with, yeah. Mm.
but the noise is so strong that you have nothing left from the original signal. So jamming is complete loss.
Mm.
Yeah.
And spoofing, can they happen at the same time?
Yes. So spoofing is a very related technique, but it's not about disrupting the entire signal so that you lose everything. It's more like tricking the vessel. So it's more difficult to do. We have several types of spoofing, but what we sometimes see is that you have an attack that tricks the vessel into just jumping to a completely different country, completely different ocean. So you will see a sudden jump. And also this gets picked up by the AIS. So the AIS reads from the GPS and then it reports back the ground position. So a lot of these maritime intelligence companies, they can detect this very disrupting spoofing.
Mm.
And also, more recently, we see a more clever type of spoofing. So instead of just telling the vessels you are somewhere completely different, we see this more gradually. So you're slowly drifting off your path. So this is something we refer to as sophisticated spoofing. And this spoofing is like very difficult to detect.
Okay. And what is your background? Like, how did you end up doing what you're doing? What did you study? How was your journey to get where you are now?
Well, I'm a physicist myself, so I spent most of my career as a researcher in novel computation. So
Hmm.
I'm a numerical programmer and a quantum physicist. So this is a bit, like at least from the first view, it's a bit outside of what we are working on now. But I grew up in a village in Møre og Romsdal where we have a lot of shipbuilding. So I do tend to think about what do the vessels need, what do they lack, and a vessel has so much sensory equipment. Like the hardware is very sophisticated, and the Norwegian supplier are some of the world's best.
Yes.
And they're excellent radars, excellent sonars. So I've been thinking about like if I had access to all of that data, what could I do? And one of the things you can do is to provide a local estimate of where the ship thinks it is.
Yeah. And your team, you're two women as co-founders, right?
Yes.
And you're based here in Oslo.
Yes, I came down to Oslo in March this year, and like before I came down, I had been living 10 years in Trondheim. But when I came to Oslo, I met a very interesting woman, and she was like, our first discussion was about the coral reefs in Norway. So I have like, there's many problems to fix in maritime, and one of these, our coral reefs, they are dying, and this affects, of course, our cod. And my co-founder that I met at that time, she was very passionate about, the coral reefs in Australia and so on, like these beautiful, colorful ones. But we quickly realized that, okay, like the Norwegian coral reefs, they get less attention because they are more gray and not, so colorful, like not all of these small fish.
Maybe.
Yeah. So so they get less attention, but the problem is the same. Like they get destroyed. And she was interested in pursuing this problem. So like we kept in contact for a long time, and I was working on this GPS problem. And then in summer this year, we met up again, and both of us were thinking that we have so much in common. Like we both love vessels. We want to, do something for the Norwegian industry. And we are quite complementary when it comes to like our tech background. So I'm a numerical programmer, and I do calculations and simulations and so on. And she's a tech builder with like experience from both, volunteer organizations and consultancy and these things. So she is good at this, commercializing and entrepreneurship and building, a tech that a user will use. So I thought, okay, this is the perfect like tech background.
Match. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you done something exciting in the last month? Has there something going on, or since the summer? What has been the most exciting things that you maybe have experienced since you got together?
Oh, well, especially the last month, we have started this prototype testing. So we spent, so first we do not know what is the market for like the navigation. Like, is it something that is useful only for defense or only for shipping? Like, is it also offshore problems? What about fisheries? So we have been exploring this, and also insurance. So that has been very exciting to talk to all of these different industries to see how the GPS jamming and spoofing goes. But also or at least I was at Andøya for like a hackathon, and then we saw what type of data we can use from satellites to support such a navigation system. And we also did some logging of sensor data. So we are 3 people. We also have a CTO.
Okay.
Yes. And we logged down some sensor data from a fishery vessel and tried to see what type of performance metric we could do.
Super interesting. And I guess, safety at sea is kind of needed for everyone. So therefore, like the segments that you are targeting are quite different between them, and maybe sometimes complementary, which is also very exciting to join you in your journey about finding this, because obviously safety suddenly to avoid any crisis at sea, it's becoming like a big priority globally. So everybody has this quite top in their agenda. So these kind of technologies make total sense to make navigation safe and more efficient, and for any kind of size of ship, right? Or it could be a small to a big ship. So applicable for different segments.
Yeah, and I think we tend to think of navigation as, a safety for your own vessel. You don't want to have your own vessel going on ground. And for example, when you have a loss of positioning, then there is the vessels do have like backups, like for example the radar. Like if you're a good captain, you can navigate quite well by the radar if you're close to the coast and so on. And some people can even use, the like sonar equipment for navigation and so on. But then we are only focusing on our own vessel. And for example, if it's a very dense port with many vessels, then one thing is that you yourself can see that, okay, the GPS now, that is off by 100 meters or more or something. And you yourself, you can navigate and think that, okay, I know that my GPS and position is wrong, but I guess I'm here, I guess I'm here. But we are still, broadcasting our position on the AIS. So all the vessels around you, you don't know if the AIS position is the correct or not the correct. So like the collision avoidance risk is quite high.
Of course, yes.
So navigation is not only, a problem for the vessel itself, but it's a more communal problem in
it's quite complex. Yeah. Oh my God, it's super interesting. And about your story as a founder, what is your purpose? Like, when was the moment that you realized I want to make a difference? I want to create something and use my knowledge into create something so interesting. When that happened, how did it happen? What was that moment? Can you tell us?
I think that was, so I have done entrepreneurship courses for 10 years. I had a very good introduction to entrepreneurship at NTNU because I attended a course where I met two friends that are very dear to me now. And they were from entrepreneurship backgrounds and Induc. And in this course, we also met a man that wanted to create a fishery simulator. And I had just a very, very nice week together with this group of people. And it was like the perfect match of people I like to spend time with, and also a problem I really thought was interesting. So like that one very positive experience, I think, started already 10 years ago. And then I have done some entrepreneurship courses in the meantime, and always thought that, if the chance comes up, or if a problem comes up, or if a solution comes up, that I would be up for it. And I defended my PhD in March last year. And already the week after defending, I was thinking, okay, I've spent so much time now in academia, and things go slow, and things, are quite rough. You have to work many years on projects that you don't know, will this work, will this not work? So I thought that now I do have the chance that I can, like what job will I have, what will I do? Like all of this were quite open, and where can I live? I can live anywhere now. So I started just having it in the back of my mind that perhaps this could be a okay time to at least investigate. So then,
and were you uncertain, or was like an automatic thing to say, I'm gonna jump on it and I'm gonna start my own company? Like I have enough theory. Like I'm now gonna go to reality, and it seems like it's to solve a global problem. So that was a trigger for you to kind of jump in. Do you have someone who was encouraging in this community that you mentioned? That it sounds amazing that you were kind of all these years kind of studying and gathering, and then also getting this feedback with other teammates that encourage you. Were they encouraging you to jump in, or how was that transition?
Well, it's both. So at least for the first question, if I'm uncertain, then yes, I'm like still today very uncertain. Like, because one thing is the problem and the solution, which I feel quite, comfortable with, that I sort of understand a little bit, and I also believe in the solution. But it's the commercial aspect, like, will this be enough to build a company on, and how big company can you build on this? What will the next product be, and so on. So commercially, I feel a bit uncertain. And when it comes to support from others, then in the entrepreneurship environment, then we all know how difficult it is. So we try to, not lead each other astray completely by just giving this sort of fake affirmation that, oh yeah, this is a great idea, just go for it, just continue. Like we are quite tough on each other and we argue sometimes, and slap each other and say, do you know what, you have spent way too much time on this, and just give up on this customer because they're not going to respond. They're not, they're quite tough. But also, of course, a lot of support because I think when it comes to people around you, like for example, from your earlier jobs or from your family or for your friends, they often want to keep you safe. And your family obviously want you to be safe and comfortable, and then this sort of sometimes clashes with being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And sometimes wonder what will happen if I get sick or so on, and
Yeah,
it's a bit...
exactly. And the doors that you had to knock, has it been a lot of doors that you have to access, or were at some point, I don't know, NTNU or doors that kind of help you to do the first steps and facilitate the first stages of your venture? How was this for you?
Well, first of all, I learned very quickly that if you're not knocking on any doors, then they're not going to open. So you have to do a lot of knocking, and of course it's very uncomfortable. I feel when you come from science, you are so used to people having trust in you, and people like NTNU is a sort of an affiliation that gives people just think, oh, she's from NTNU, or oh, this is okay, this is safe. I know her professors, or I know the group, or I know the university, or something like that. But now you're suddenly just, a group of random people, and you don't have that type of credibility. So that's a very large change. That I feel like a criminal, because you're just calling strangers and asking them about the GPS issues. Like, it's such a weird thing to do. But no, I noticed that change a lot, like going from, being someone safe and trusted to someone, a door seller that I don't always had plans to speak to.
Yeah, I can imagine you are kind of totally out of your comfort zone in a way. And I think one of the I love when I hear scientists talking about this transition, and we have a few female founders who have done this leap, which is super super interesting, and also very deep in their kind of sense of purpose that we really admire, because it's a huge thing to do what you're doing. And for some of you, it is like you need to almost unlearn certain things, or like you change your cap, or you completely change the way you present yourself to do something that it's kind of new, that you need to get experience as well to make this startup successful. So can you share with us one thing that you have to unlearn, that you say like, oh my God, this has been with me all these years and now I need to drop it to move forward, and that kind of propel you in a way? Is there anything like that for you?
Well, one change is that nothing is going to happen unless you do it. So there is no one that is sending you an email saying, Teresa, you have to do this by today and this is the deadline. Everything will just stop if you stop pushing. Another thing I think I noticed that I found quite funny is that, when I was in the middle of the PhD, I was a little bit, tired of the whole thing, right? And if I needed to be on a whole day conference, then, I would probably be a bit grumpy, that, okay, I'm tired now. I'm so tired about hearing about physics and about this and that, and I have to talk to all these people, and this is tiring. But I have never had that feeling in these months. When I go to a conference now, I have so much energy and joy from it. So because it's completely flipped, because now it's opportunities, and I'm a bit upset with myself when I was in physics, because obviously I should do the same, to search for opportunities as a researcher when I was there as well. It shouldn't be so,
yeah.
But now at Nor-Shipping, of course, that's also very, very tiring, these whole days at the expo and then parties later and all of these days. But it does give so much energy. So.
Yeah. and I feel that from you, like, because we've been in communication, and I think you are kind of pushing to learn, and you're kind of um, yeah, kind of very committed, and that's kind of the energy or the vibe I felt from you, and it almost made me very proud. Like I've read about your company, and I read about what you were doing like a few months ago, and then I read again what's going on, and it's like, oh my god, she's been doing so much. And it's sometimes quite difficult for entrepreneurs like you to get this kind of strategy in place. Like you're creating technology and solutions, but also like the strategy and the positioning and the communication and a lot of things that are also needed, and that a platform like the Ocean Opportunity Lab can help you. And we are very committed to kind of be a bridge to facilitate these connections, because we know that companies like yours, pilots are crucial, right? That could be a wall, that you have a fantastic technology, you have fantastic journey, but then you need to test it. You need to put it in practice. Share with us a little bit what has been your experience in this, where you are today with your pilots and your testing your technology.
Yes, so this is, I think, one of the sadly, one of the difficult things in maritime. It's difficult to get your product out, and especially on vessels. So there are so many like safety concerns, and a vessel is not some sort of playground. It's many millions, sometimes billions for a vessel. So you have this anxiety that things need to be very proper before an installment. But then luckily, for example, in Norway, we have like these catapult centers that are facilitating for pilot testing. And so we have been in contact with these clusters for getting help with doing pilot testing. So we will hopefully do that the next months. We have also done our own pilot testing on our, own boats and using ship electronics, and because we test this, test that, So, like very early, we decided that any type of tech should have a flexibility to use different type of sensory equipment, because there's not two vessels that are the same. They're all different. So we need to have the type of flexibility that a vessel might have, a sonar in this price range, or a much better sonar, or like to have this flexibility in equipment. So now we have started at thinking what is the smallest amount of sensory equipment needed to get the navigation to work, and working from there. And you asked me if I had like a call for action. Like my call for action is definitely like, because we see so much sensory equipment that could be used for navigation and that is not used for navigation. So if you are like a supplier or something that are producing radars and sonar equipment, we would love to play around with the equipment. Like we do think that also like some of the equipment on smaller boats can be used more like for navigation, not only for finding fish or seeing the shape of the ocean floor or these things. So we would love to partner up with some suppliers that could just share some ship electronics and equipment with us, and then we can test to see if this has other use cases.
Yeah, fantastic. And this process of the piloting, how does it work? If I don't know, like how would it be an ideal pilot for you, that you will say that would be my dream to test it in here, and it will take this time, and I will achieve this? Hypothetically, what would it be?
I have many dreams, and some of them are sadly a bit in the future. So I think I do tend to think the larger the vessel, the more success. No, so shipping vessels, large shipping vessels with all the equipment, that would be excellent pilot vessel. Also vessels that are traveling a bit in the northern regions, that's also good pilots. And also like some of my favorite ships are the Coast Guard vessels. They have excellent sensory equipment, but I guess that's a little bit in the future to be allowed to play around there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very nice. So we know about the pilots, and it's a pilot like a proof of success, Or are there any other ways for you to prove success of your technology?
No, I mean, one thing is technical success, another thing is like commercial success. Being able to, for example, provide value to the user, that's the most important pilot test, of course. When it comes to this technical pilot test, then I view it more not as testing if something works exactly how I expected, but to just go there and to figure out what is actually the problem. How does this look? Is it facilitated for sensor fusion? Like, how difficult is it to connect all of these things? So I think of it more as something you're doing while you're developing these type of technical pilots.
Yeah, very nice. And when you were sharing a little bit about your energy and your I think you're full of adrenaline and joy. I think when you're in the right place with the right people doing the right thing, that gives a lot of reassurance that what you're doing is right. I feel that too. But sometimes we're human and we get tired, and there's worries or situations. Like, personally, what has been kind of the biggest challenge in you during this journey, like stress or sleep, or is there anything that you have kind of been struggling with it?
I think for me, it's those thoughts that I might be doing something that will just fall apart anytime. It's this commercial aspect. Will I be able to make enough money of this to provide a salary to myself and the others? And is this enough to build a company on? And how big of a company? Is this something that you cannot build something more than a 10-person company? These type of worries. And I'm not so strong commercially either. I come from a technical background, and also we are a team of 3 technical people. So of course I feel that I should as soon as possible get questions answered for these things. When it comes to the physical thing about sleeping, I do sleep and I eat and all of that, but I come from PhD in physics and I had a horrible time there. So not a horrible time, a good time also, but also some very tough days. Working the entire 24/7.
Yeah.
So I'm quite used to that type of workloads, and
Yeah.
So
and what is your hack to recover, for example, when you're so tired and you need to go to an event or an exhibition or something? What was your hack, for example, in your shipping to keep going?
Physically, my feet were completely ruined in no shipping. I had blisters on my feet from day one or something like that. But
use comfortable shoes.
I did a very typical mistake of wearing nice shoes the first day and should never. I will learn that until next time to go in ruggers. No, I need a lot of emotional support, I think. So I often call people just to talk, and I found that the best people to talk are people that are going through the same. And of course, I meet a lot of other entrepreneurs, and I have to say I do use them a lot as therapists through this.
Nice.
So they tell me about their problems, and a lot of these problems are similar. So you tend to, of course, it's quite tough emotionally when you get a lot of no from people. Can I come and have coffee with you? No, for example, it's very but it's quite common as well. So I talk to them about what I experience, and then they often tell me, "Oh, do you know what? I feel the same, and you're not alone to feel this." And also they provide some sort of alternative path, or they will be angry with me and saying, "Okay, but why did you do that? Why did you? Okay, you have to not do that." They provide some sort of direction and support.
And how do you react to rejection? What is your when you get into these kind of situations, how do you deal with a no?
Well, I don't like it.
No,
I accept it. No, I do tend to go towards not being feeling that I am rejected as a person, but more feeling some sort of disappointment in society, or like, why is maritime like that? Why are these companies so slow in answering emails? Why is it like that? Why can I just not go to the ship and install what I want to be done with it?
Yeah.
No,
But
it's like, it's very tough. There's so much rejection, of course.
Yeah, and it's so good that we talk about this, because you're not alone, and there's a lot of women, also men, that having amazing technologies, but maybe we need to open the conversation a little bit more, to share, best practices and experiences and hacks, and maybe even partnerships between you. But one of the things that for me it has been very useful is, like, when you get a no, or when you face a wall, it's always kind of an opportunity to learn something about it. It could be something about yourself and the way you're approaching the situation, or maybe the product that you're trying to sell. And those learnings maybe are so important than a yes, because the next time that the opportunity shows up is like, oh, that was a yes, and it was a learning, but it takes time. And I
one
guess,
thing I
like,
have learned. Oh no, yeah, like, one thing I have learned is to not say no myself. Say yes to almost everything. So
yeah, I think that that's super important. And as you say, you have you need a village to raise a startup. They say now, you need your community, and you need people around you that are sharing, and understand where you are, and the risks and challenges that you're facing, and also be vulnerable about it. And that's something that we in Tool, we are kind of encouraging, especially with the Female Founders Initiative, to share our vulnerabilities, and we all have them, to kind of become stronger together. And when I hear what you're doing and where you are, I think it will be great to introduce you. I have in mind a few, but also through these podcasts, that we can reach more more entrepreneurs that are kind of in the same stage as you, and that maybe you can have a virtual coffee, or just have a meeting, would be fantastic. And if we're moving on to your bold ask, like, what do you need today? What can this platform and this community of the Ocean Opportunity Lab do for you today?
Well, we are so early, so we need absolutely everything. For example, you reached out and offered, help with marketing, which is, I have no idea how marketing works in maritime. I only see, this same blue logos, in events. And no, we need help with a lot. We do get a lot of help commercially from the clusters, for example, getting help with business development and so on, which is lovely, since we are, as I said, mostly heavy on the technical side. But right now, I always ask, let me come to your vessel, let me see the bridge system, let me see what type of equipment they have, and let me talk to, the navigators on the vessel. That's a typical ask. And right now, my specific ask for these next months is that if there is anyone producing, sonar equipment, producing radars, producing, this type of sensor hardware, that they would be interested in seeing, does this have another use case within navigation, then get in contact with me. So we could, try to figure out if this is something that could work for a vessel of this size or a larger size, and so on. And is it possible to use our navigation techniques using this equipment?
Yeah, and this kind of fits very well with the fact that what do you need and what can you offer? Like, with your need comes the offer, which is very interesting, right? Because when you go into these ships and when you test your technology, you're also providing a service, or you are open for that. So it's kind of a two-way, that it's quite clear in your particular case. Or is there any other thing that you can offer? to the
Like,
community?
for example, in the beginning, I tend to have this thought that, you know, we are so small, so we are in a small egg that needs to get, you know, nourishment and help from others and and we cannot offer anything back, but there's a lot we can offer back. So we have so many conversations with people in different markets, and we are talking to we have a quite good overview about what the different companies in Norway and globally are producing and what interests them and how large the problem is. And we do a lot of this market validation within the different sectors that I think would be interesting for other actors to, you know, have a conversation about. And then it's like we do, of course, act a lot faster than, you know, like things go very, very quickly. We quickly figure out that this didn't work as we thought, and this didn't work, and this is something people don't want. And then we, you know, we throw it away, start a little bit new, and that type of very quick development. So I view it like if you are a large company, you already have a lot of product in your product line, and you not only produce hardware, but you're also producing, you know, this separate softwares or visualizations for this equipment. Then I think it's, you know, it must be nice to have, you know, some sort of technical team that, you know, take a look at your equipment and see, is there possible to get revenue from other type of markets, other type of use cases for the same equipment? Because we are the ones that are taking, you know, the risk, like the complete risk financially, and also, you know, with our time. And we are, you know, not the worst type of technical team either. We're quite, you know, good programmers. So I think there is a lot we could.
That could be a potential partnership, maybe with some technical teams.
And also, we always like we are so used to rejection ourselves, and we are good at saying yes to ideas. And also, we work a lot with other startups because it's nice for us to work with other people that have the same sort of, you know, speed and that answer quickly, and, you know, we can discuss back and forth very quick. So if there is a startup working on something similar and that has similar problems, for example, we do go through a lot of the same technical things. I think having to facilitate for like integration of sensor data on the bridge, that's something a lot of companies do within rerouting and fuel optimization and so on. So I do think there is a lot of code that we could, you know, potentially have shared and could collaborate on. Also, when it comes to sharing data, so of course we don't share ship data or vessel data, but we would like to share our information on where spoofing occurs and where jamming occurs and so on. So try to find other actors to bundle with.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. Really nice. And if you could give the spotlight to another female founder, who would it be and why?
So luckily I have many vessel women around me that are also doing startups. Yeah. So I have not asked them to, you know, shout out. So I should check with them first, of course. But I was in the same cohort when I came to Oslo, and so in this entrepreneurship cohort, I met one woman that is like making a company called Clarity Chain. So she's doing like this type of help towards like not only shipping but just supply chains in general, like for them to, you know, help with procurement processes and also like try to see how different events will, you know, affect the supply chain. That's Clarity Chain. And then also there is a women-led startup called Anoxai. She often says that she's doing like immune system for robots or autonomic vehicles. So she's also, you know, she's very good at listening to, you know, companies and their problems and trying to, you know, solve and what can be solved, what cannot be solved, and giving feedback. So she's in general, you know, a cool person just to have a call with. And then there is Beata from Kahoot! I think you met her before. So she is a very similar energy. I often hear that people saying that, oh my God, Therese, you have to meet this wonderful woman.
Yes, she was in my head, and I was almost sure that you know each other because there's a lot of parallel between you guys. But yeah, I know her and I know her challenges. But yeah, thank you so much. I will check out the first two, and I will reach out to Beata as well to join us.
Also, I also want to give a shout out to a woman I talked to, just half an hour before getting on this call. So I've been talking to a scientist
Yes.
called Ayana Samuels, and she is researching how it is to be a female entrepreneur. So she has so much interesting to share, and also it's just so interesting. Like her questions make me think about like what is happening around me. So in these conversations I've had with her, so she's a scientist. She's studying like female entrepreneurs, but it's so interesting to be like to see what sense she makes out of the problems we go through. So also I will send I can send you a link to her later, so you can.
Please.
Yeah.
I would love to get in touch with them and tell them that you've been raising them in our conversation. So thank you so much. And if you could have a chance to talk to your young self before you started studying, or you were about to choose a career, and think about also in a way to inspire other girls or young women to join these kind of unknown waters, what would be your advice and what would be kind of your encouragement to them to join us?
No, I don't know if this is a weird thing to say to like a younger person, but like to try to follow what gives you, some sort of purpose or vision, because we get taught to, to do what other people think you should do, not necessarily what you love or what you're good at and all of these things. So most people have, their job and then they have their hobbies. And some people, like musicians, they can do both. But entrepreneurship, then you do get to do both also, in this field. So also, just figure out what gives them joy, what makes them work without feeling, that this is awful or stressful or da da da. And also to not be so afraid, like don't worry so much. Things usually go okay, yeah. And you usually find a way, and especially when you need to find a way, you will.
Yeah. Yeah, because as you said, like the maritime industry need more women, and we need younger women as well to join in. And it's super interesting the perspectives that we can bring, like to this industry that could be a bit closed and maybe slow moving, but at the end it requires this kind of contribution that we could bring to the table. So it's yeah, the more the merrier, and I think we're getting there. But it's super exciting and super interesting to hear your journey, and we will follow close to where you are and what you need, and stay tuned with us. And I think we will, if you have any other thing to add, eller you request, or before we close our conversation.
I've already requested so much, let me on board your vessel and let me play with your hardware equipment and let me do this, let me do that.
Yeah, let us play with your vessel and get in touch with her. We will provide the contacts, and also like we would love if some more entrepreneurs talk to each other and get the walls down and collaborate and find ways to make the cake bigger, because it helps everybody. So yes, thank you so much, Teresa, for your time and for sharing all this with us. And best of luck with everything. We are your big supporters. And to everybody listen, see you next time. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.